Hey guys, hello. Happy Tuesday. We are here once again with Insights with Latrese. We are doing it another time. And you know what's so awesome about today's episode is that you asked for it. You wanted this again. You wanted Britt Frank. So guess what? Latrice actually delivers. And so I do have her here. So I am going to get to her in just a minute. But we always got to talk. What's going on? What's happening? What's going on with life? Are we still quarantined? How many of you have been out and about? I'm going to admit, I stayed home. I've had to go to the store and I still masked up and everything. No judgment if you don't. I'm just telling you what I do in my house, what happens. But this week, school is out for us here in the Park Hill School District. That is so crazy to me. So let me know. Tell me in the comments what's going on, what's happening in your life, your world, all that good stuff. Are you ready to get with your people? Are you ready to get out shopping? I had one girlfriend that called me and I was like, well, what's wrong? And I'm thinking, and she's freaking out. She's like, I missed them all. Listen, I thought we were about to have to do a drive-by or something, was happening. She says she missed them all. So I'm sure she's very tickled pink right now with everything opening. But whatever you do, just be safe, guys. That's all I say. Be safe. Um, hey, I talk about it all the time. Are you following me? Are you following me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, even? Yes, I'm on Twitter. And then, of course, if you want to catch this podcast as you're driving to work now, for those of you that have to go to work and drive in, and how is that working for you? You've been quarantining at your home, and your home has been your office, and now you have to drive back. I know that's probably a little struggle for you. But if you are driving to work, listen to my podcast on Spotify, Google, and Apple. Just like last week, just like all weeks, you're going to want to listen to this two or three different times. And, today again, we have Britt Frank. She is an amazing therapist. She specializes in trauma. And last week, she left us with some nuggets. She gave us, hey, hi, Auntie, how are you? Thank you for joining. She left us with some nuggets. And, the reason why I do this, especially this month, May is mental health month awareness. But I've been on a journey for several years with mental health because there were things in my life that just kept reoccurring. So I knew that there were some things that I needed to fix, figure out, deal with. And part of the way I dealt with it, I went to therapy. And it was such an amazing breakthrough for me. And you have to get the right therapist you know, um, and so I had a great experience and I was able to release some things that had been kind of dormant that I didn't even realize. When you go through life trauma or life situations that are just too much, you find yourself sometimes um, allowing it to go dormant. But what happens, it still manifests in other ways in your life as you get older. Triggers happen. You sometimes may think, why is it when I hear that noise, I freak out, or something that simple? It's a trigger that's happening. And so you have to deal with it. And so I had to bring some therapists here this month, and you'll hear it, see it throughout all my episodes. I deal with mental health because I want to really take the stigma off of mental health. And hey, Michael, and bring awareness, because mental health doesn't mean you're crazy. It is just like physical health. You have to get healthy. You got to get strong. You got to work your core. You got to work your muscles. No different than mental health. You might wonder why I respond to this or why I act this way. Well, let's dive in. And sometimes It can be hard, but I'm telling you, it is worth it. It is worth tracking through. Last week, Britt said through the mud, getting all the way in there. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. And so, not only have I been on this journey personally, but now I'm going to be part of the team. I just entered into my master's program, and so to be a licensed therapist, and you'll hear that journey and all that throughout these next 2 years, because I'm going to need prayer. I'm soliciting prayer. Listen, and anyone that needs to that can help me with my homework. No, I'm joking. Kind of, but not, but kind of. But anyway, without further ado, let's bring Britt Frank, who I'm so grateful that she's here, because listen, this woman works all day. Listen to other people and helping them and changing their lives. And I told her last week, I said, Britt, they're asking for you, and I know your schedule's tight. And she graciously said, Treese, I'll do it. I'll do it. Let's do it next week. And so I got Britt here. So have them questions ready. Britt, how are you?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here again. It's so good to see
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on Insights with Latrese once again. When I got oh my gosh, several text messages, um, and just people telling me personally, hey, Teresa, telling me, you know what? I think I really need to deal with my trauma, or I really think I need to go see a therapist. I think it becomes real when you hear other people. Do you know what I mean? And you realize, man, one, I'm not alone, and two, I need help. And I think sometimes we're afraid to deal with the ugly. And you talked about that last week, but that's the only way you're going to have your best life, if you're healed from the inside out. And so we're talking about trauma. And there's so many types of trauma, and I know we don't have time to get into that. But can we just recap, what is trauma? What would you define trauma as?
Yes, and I loved what you said about, mental health is physical health, and physical health is mental health. And I think a lot of people don't want to look at this because they're afraid they'll find out that they're crazy. And so I can just fast forward, like, you're not crazy. Not crazy. It's and that podcast you sent me where she was talking about, it's not just you're either mentally healthy or mentally ill. It's like you have good days, you have days, you have bad days, right? It's
Yes,
not just you're sane or crazy. So let's put that. That's
yes,
not a thing. So trauma,
absolutely.
anything, anything that is too much, too fast, too soon, or not enough. Anything that is too much, too soon, too fast, or not enough is trauma.
And that is so simple. And people don't realize that, because, again, we were talking last week saying a car crash, or losing a loved one. That's what we've always, society has defined as trauma. But that's not true, because you made a great point that just blew me away. You said someone went in the lottery, coming into a lot of money too fast is trauma. Expound on that.
Right. I know a lot of people are like, well, okay, that's the kind of trauma that I want, right? So, which I get to a degree. So, if you think of a lottery winner, and they've done this, the research, they have higher rates of depression. And,
Yeah.
because think of you're a little kid and you have your neighborhood and you have your friends and you have your way of life. And then all of a sudden your parents move you to a brand new city. And now all of a sudden you don't have any friends anymore. And now you don't know, are people being nice to me because of me? Are they being nice to me because now I'm the lottery winner, kid or whatever? And so we brush that off as, well, that's not trauma. That's great. Having a baby is a wonderful thing. And it's traumatic physically, it's traumatic emotionally. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent or that you don't love your kid, but wonderful getting married, getting a
Yes.
promotion. And people feel guilty. It's like, how can I feel so bad about that? I want to enjoy the good things, but you
Yeah.
can't enjoy the good things unless you honor the truth that part of you is actually afraid or overwhelmed by what's happening. And that's okay.
Yes. And so with that, signs of trauma, right? Because we're going from one extreme to the other. It could be someone's death, right? That caused traumatic issues, but it could also be winning the lottery. What are some signs of trauma or that you're dealing with trauma?
I love that question. And I'm certainly not saying that all trauma is equal, but there's no point in comparing. A lot of people are like, well, I don't have the right to feel traumatized because I don't have it as bad as them. That's great for perspective, but trauma doesn't understand compare. Like if I'm face
Yeah.
down in 3 inches of water and you're face down in 3 feet of water, we're both drowning. So there's no point in comparing.
Oh, that was good. That
I
was
didn't come up
good.
with that, but like it's true. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no point in comparing traumas. And then, so signs that you might have trauma. I mean, it's really simple. Are you living? Do you feel your best? Do you feel like you are living your best life? Or do you feel like you're struggling with calming down or getting excited? Do you struggle with your relationship to food or intimacy? Do you feel joy? Or are you living in fear and anxiety and terror? Are you living in depression? I mean, really, if you're not.
But with that, can't you function in dysfunction where you don't even notice it anymore? Do you know what I mean?
I do. And a lot of people can function really well, even with a traumatized system. And so I say to them, okay, well, everything looks great. You're doing well, but how's your being? Like, are you okay? If you're okay with your life, then don't come see it there. Like, if it's working for you, then that's great. But is there more that could be? Is there more joy? Is there more connection? Is there more of the things? And high functioning people, if you slow down enough, if there's trauma, they'll admit, okay, I have an awesome life, but I can't enjoy any of it.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I have a question. Teresa asked, how can we effectively and therapeutically deal with the triggers of our trauma?
That's such a good question. Hi, Teresa. Thank you for that. So I want to put a disclaimer that this conversation is for informational purposes only. So please
Yes.
refer to a doctor for medical stuff. Please refer to your own therapist. These are not universal. If you do this, you'll be cured kinds. I just want to say that. That's just my little.
Yes. No, 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 that's really good because you really do need to do the work, and that means finding the right therapist
Yes.
for you, your situation, because it's so much more than just, a question. You got to dig deep and all that. So, yes, I
Yeah.
get that. Get
And
that.
that's a great question. So, with any type of trauma trigger, the very first thing I tell people is to remind themselves that they are not crazy. You may not know why something's triggering you. Doesn't matter if you know why. Start with the assumption that you're not making it up, you're not overreacting, you're not crazy. If you're triggered, something is a thing here. I don't care what it is. And asking yourself, why does this trigger me, is not helpful, because the why, we figure out, like if I walk up to someone laying in the middle of the street, I'm not going to ask you, why are you here? I'm going to get them over to the side of the road. We'll
Yeah,
figure out what happened later. So
yeah.
you want to start with, you're not crazy, and then not why am I triggered, but what do I need right now to feel a little less crappy? What do I need to feel a little less unsafe, a little less bad, a little more okay? What do I need? Not why am I triggered?
Well, so why do we default to that? Why do we always go to the why?
Ah, because okay, I can rant about this forever. Because we don't live in a trauma-informed culture, right? It's, oh, well, you're just overreacting. You're just being a drama queen. You're just blowing stuff up. Even mental health, and you're going to find this out as you go through grad school. You don't
Yeah.
actually learn about trauma when you're getting your mental health license. You don't. You
Oh,
don't need to. It's not required.
really?
I know, it's a specialization.
Wow.
Like what?
So we're not informed about something that happens to so many of us.
we're getting better. The field is getting better, and there's been a
Okay.
big shift, but it's not anywhere near like most people who work in mental health are not, they don't know about trauma and how it works in the body and how triggers work. And it just blows my mind. Like, how can you heal from stuff if you don't know how it works?
Right. And how to get to the root of it.
That's right. And so if you want to know trauma, you have to go to grad school and then you have to do more stuff on top of that so you can actually learn. Like I did a 3-year separate deal from my grad school program so I can learn this.
Wow. Now that's very interesting because most people, not all, I don't want to generalize all, um, but have childhood trauma.
I'm going to go with you don't get to be born of mother on this planet and not have trauma. I said this last week. Trauma is for everybody to some degree. Not everyone has the same level, but being a human inherently is traumatic. Your
Yeah.
adolescence is traumatic. Growing up is traumatic. Like not always in the same degree for everyone, but everyone has some degree of trauma because no parents are perfect.
Right. Right. And so you're gonna deal with some things. I was listening to our girl that and she was saying how or maybe it was you I was listening to. And one of you were saying how one thing can cause trauma. It could be something as simple as a child is happy and excited about some news. The mom or dad comes in and tired, and they're like, "Mom, Dad, guess what?" And they were like, "Not right now." That one incident can cause trauma,
And
and you
that's no
can't.
shame to the parents. So that's
Right?
really important for parents. Like,
Yeah.
oh, great. Well, I guess I'm just going to traumatize my kid and everything. And like, take a breath, right? This is not a shaming exercise. It's like
No.
you're gonna be human, but it's
Yeah.
understanding that yes, children are incredibly sensitive. I remember I was singing in the bathroom when I was a kid, and I got screamed at because someone was home and tired, and it was just like, and I was like really going crazy. It was fun. But like I actually haven't really had a whole lot of freedom in singing because I still have that. I'm gonna get in trouble,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
here's the thing. This is real. We want to sugarcoat and cover it up, and we want to minimize. But let me tell you, honey, if it didn't affect us, we wouldn't be acting as crazy as we are as adults.
Truth.
So, because I have great parents, and I remember, I don't want them to look like a bad light, but let's just say an incident occurred and it was affecting me physically. And my mom asked me, why didn't I know a particular something or another? I'm trying to make it as general. And she's like, because if you did, we could have benefited from there. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'll tell you off stage. But the thing was, that conversation, which lasted no more than 2 minutes, has still affected me. And so I didn't even know that until I went to therapy. And I was like, wait a minute, where's this coming from? What? Because it didn't even feel like trauma.
Right. And not all trauma feels
Yeah,
bad in the moment. Winning the
exactly.
lottery, I wouldn't know, but I would imagine that feels good in the moment.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
have a post on my Instagram. You may not think something should be trauma, but like your brain has its own agenda. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
absolutely.
shouldn't bother me. Well, you may not think it should, but it does, and it is. So let's deal with what's real.
So let's deal with it. And that's the thing about therapy that I love. I love the word of God, and my weapon, is prayer and praise and worship. But the Lord gives doctors, dentists, therapists. And I completely believe in a therapist, the right therapist for you. And what has helped me is to talk it out and really realize, okay, I don't have to minimize. The way my brain is set up, that is. extreme for me, or that's hurtful, or whatever the case may be. Now, you may have gone through the same thing, but it just didn't affect you the same way. And so I think we have to stop shaming or putting some type of stigma on trauma or mental health. And that leads me to my question from Teresa again. Any suggestions on getting past that stigma for those who need the help? Let me answer it, and then I want you to piggyback.
Okay.
And this is just from my own journey. You're going to have to love yourself enough that you don't care what no one else thinks. Because if, like you said, if it's affecting you, if your brain is saying this affects me, it's affecting you. And so no matter if Sally Sue or Larry Lou says, oh, you're tripping, that happened 10 years ago and it was minimal. No, I'm not tripping. This really happened. And because of this is why I respond this way. And so I need help for healing and to get through this. Go ahead, Miss Expert. Finish it out.
So I have 2 points here. So I'm just gonna go. Okay.
Yeah.
There comes a point where I need to feel better more than I need to feel accepted. Like I need to feel better more than I need to feel accepted. Now the second one is going to be like apologies in advance if this offends anybody. Okay. But like if you, and again, we can talk about, bridging spirituality and mental health, how to get past the stigma. Don't throw your pearls before swine. If you have people in your life that aren't about mental health, don't share with them that you're going. It's not about lying. It's just you don't share the parts of your journey that other people have no room to tolerate. So find other people to talk to.
And that is right on. You have to find those that can support you. Not everyone has the capacity to support you, right. And that's okay.
And that's totally okay.
Yes, but right. There are people that can support your journey, because I know when I went on my journey, I didn't tell anyone. I mean, other than Olivier, my husband, because of the fact that the stigma, everything that was going on, and what people would say. Not to mention, I'm married to Olivier, a minister. I come from ministry family, that type of thing. So it was like, oh my God, you're going to the therapist? Oh my God, no, you can't do that. So I did not say anything for years until I was at a point where my healing, my health, my wholeness was more important than affirmation. Mm-hmm. And from that point, and so ever since then, I haven't shut up about mental health and healing and so again, I can authentically say I can live my best life because I'm living a healed life.
You're living an honest life, right? When that's an important thing too. The stigma is a lie. It's a lie. Are you going to listen to the lies of the stigma? It's not truth. I mean, really, mental health is, am I willing to live an honest life? You cannot be mentally well and live in believing lies. Stigma is a lie. It is not truth. There is no healing to be found by that.
Absolutely. And so, time gets us, but in therapy, explain to those who are not, who still have a negative thought process with therapy. How does therapy help one with trauma or any type of mental health that needs some type of healing? Help people understand what therapy is for.
Yeah. So it's really important to validate people that are wary of therapists, because there's a lot of bad therapists. Yes. There are a lot of and there's a lot of bad versions of everything. So, yeah. Right? So yes. A safe therapist is not there to tell you what to do, to give you advice, to tell you who you are, to change your belief systems. It's like, no, I'm here to give you information about how all this works. You do with the information whatever you want. Yeah. I am not here to fix you because you're not broken. Trauma is not like you're broken. It's an injury. It heals. So there is no you're broken, let's fix you. So therapy, a good therapy, is about, I'm going to meet you where you're at with no agenda, no judgments, and a whole lot of information. Take what's useful, leave the rest. It doesn't matter if we believe the same thing. It doesn't matter if you are not the type of person that would want to have coffee with me. It doesn't matter. I'm here to give you information. So
Yes.
take it and then go do your thing.
Yeah. That is so good. I love the fact that you said you're not here to fix. And I think
Uh-uh.
that's why people are afraid, because then I have to say I'm broken,
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. You're not
right?
broken. Like, you can't. Like, your body can be broken, but like, how do you break someone's soul? You can't. Like, you are unbreakable. The design is not breakable. Like, you can break someone's spirit, sure. Like, and
Right,
that we need to tend to, but like,
right.
you are not defective. You are not less than. You are not missing anything. You already come fully equipped with everything that you
Yes,
need. Therapy
yes.
helps remove what you don't need. It's not about giving to you something you don't have other than information. You need the knowledge, fine. But you're not crazy and you're not broken.
And knowledge is key. And the word of God, the thing about God, he designed us so amazingly, right? You said something so key, that he's put it already in us, right? When he formed us in our mother's womb, he put it in us. And so we can overcome anything. We are overcomers. We walk in victory, and we need to do these things to walk in total victory. One last comment, one last insight from you, Britt, that you can give the audience before we
Ooh,
go.
I didn't plan for this. Ooh, help me here. Help me. Give me a question to answer.
Okay. So, can you overcome trauma?
Oh, I love that. Thank you. It's the end of my day, so my brain's a little
Oh, I
mushy.
get it. I
Okay.
get it.
Okay, there's some debate in the mental health world about this, but I don't care. This is truth, and I will
Yes.
stand toe to toe with anyone who wants to argue. Now, not
Okay.
everyone has access to resources. Not everyone has access to, if you have access to good information, if you have a safe enough environment with enough support, if you have the
You have
willingness to do the work, trauma is healable. 100%. You do not have to live with the effect. You can't change the past, but you can change everything about how your past
come on.
affects your present. Everything.
And you know what? Let me just go ahead and give my insight and add that again, not the past. The past is the past. That's why it's behind you, right? You move forward. You can make what you want in the future, but you have to do the work. You
Do the work.
must do the work. And it is okay. Your past doesn't define you. Whatever happened to you doesn't define you. None of that, right? But what you can do is get power over that with knowledge, with wisdom, with work to move forward to your best life. And that's what I leave with you guys. This is real. This is true. If you want to live that best life, let's do it. Let's do it together. It's a journey. It's a process. It's not a race. And what I'm going to tell you is that from my personal experience, it has been a life changer. I'm a better person, mother, wife, friend, sister, daughter, everything, because God has allowed their therapy to really heal some areas and deal with areas I didn't even know I had to deal with. And then I took the word of God with that. Listen, I'm unstoppable and I'm unbreakable. Until next time, Britt, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in once again.
I love you.
Love you. You know I love you. Love you, baby. I appreciate you. Until next time, guys, everybody, Thursday, I'll see you at 7. I'm serious about this. We have another great guest. We're going to talk about mental health. Let me just say this. If you want to reach out to Britt, she's at Britt Frank, and her website is www.thegreenhousekc.com. Make sure you reach out to her. She is taking new clients, and she is seeing clients through telehealth and in her office in Overland Park, Kansas. And so make sure you reach out to her. And until next time, I'm so fired up. I'm so excited, and excited for everyone that's watching. that this is a new day for you, a time, a day that it's time for you to be listening. It is time for you to make that change. It is time for you to get healed in that area. And so God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning into Insights with Latrese. We love you. I'll see you Thursday.